My name is Glenn Shalokian, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Niagara Falls. This upcoming election might be the most important election in the history of our city. We cannot afford to elect the same type of people with a popular name that is unqualified, that is running for all the wrong reasons. It has been over 30 years of destruction by electing the same type of leadership. On November 5th, please vote for Glenn Shalokian, your only chance for change.
Paid for by the committee to elect Glenn Shalokian. There's a new Mexican restaurant in town. Tasty Mexican tacos and ice cream at 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. Beautifully decorated and ready to serve you. Weekly specials include prime loin tacos for only $10, beef tongue tacos, shredded ribeye steak tacos, beef chalupas with onions and cabbage, rice and bean taco, fried sweet baby fish tacos. You're sure to find something you love at Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. To place your order, call 804-3934. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, featuring that Mexican food you will love, made fresh and delicious every day. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, now open in Niagara Falls. Why do people read the Niagara Falls Reporter? Well, according to publisher Frank Parlato, it's because they're not afraid to publish the truth.
Hi out there, this is Tony Farina inviting you to read the Niagara Falls Reporter online or in print every week. We're not afraid to tell the truth. We don't pull punches. We give you the best we can about what's going on in this area, whether it be politics, government, budgets, Seneca gaming issues. Whatever we've got, you're going to have. So check us out, Niagara Falls Reporter.
And the Reporter is factual, fun, and it's free. Pick your copy up every week at Tops, DiCamello's, or Tim Hortons, or read it online at NiagaraFallsReporter.com. Listen closely to these symptoms: inflammation, nausea, hot flashes, headaches, joint pain, muscle pain, back pain, trouble sleeping, cramps, irritated skin. You know, this is just a partial list, but if you said you have any of those symptoms, you might benefit from the power of CBD. What is CBD? Well, it's all the good taken out of the hemp plant, the marijuana plant, all the good taken out, but none of the bad. Now, you won't get high from it, you won't fail a drug test, but what you will do is find relief from these and many more symptoms. And it comes in a variety of applications. Well, there's oils, there's gummies, there's candies, there's vapes, there's rubs, there's soaks. The list goes on, and as a matter of fact, it's too numerous for me to mention here. But I'll tell you what you do. If you stop in at the Wellness Park Pharmacy, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, see Bob there, tell him you want to look in the green room. What's the green room? Well, it's a room dedicated to all CBD products. And Bob is a registered pharmacist, so he can explain to you how CBD works and what dosage is right for you. Now, you could buy CBDs in other places, but you really want to go to a registered pharmacist. You're going to be surprised and amazed, and you know what? You're going to love this product. CBD. Stop in Wellness Park, 86th and Buffalo Avenue, or call 260-1918. Oh, incidentally, if you have an animal that's suffering too, maybe joint pain or anxiety, CBD products works well for them, and there's some made especially for your animals. You can check that out too in the Wellness Park Green Room.
The opinions expressed on NiagaraBroadcastNetwork.com are those of the host and the guest, not of management or the sponsors.
The Sal and Rose Show.
Hello? Don't I recognize you from somewhere?
I get that a lot.
Oh my God! I hate shrews. It's either us or these damn shrews. You know what they say, you shrews, you lose. Yeah.
Recognize that place? Recognize that cop?
Hey, this is Killer. These are Killer Shrews.
Killer shrews. Come on. We got Ken Cosentino with us tonight. You made the movie?
Yeah, I made
You
that
produced
movie.
it?
I directed it. I wrote it. I'm guilty.
It's funny.
People like it.
And I saw the Sunshine Cafe
That's right.
on Buffalo Avenue.
Yep.
But tell me about the cop in it. The cop in it.
Well, it's my good friend and business partner, Bill Kennedy. You know, he's
Our councilman?
He's a councilman, yeah, but he's been an actor for a very long time. He's a very talented actor. He did great in that role. It's a comedic role, and he really got to ham it up.
Kind of funny. So you do movies.
Right.
You did that.
Yeah.
You got another one coming out. We'll talk about before the end of the show.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not here to
But-
plug my films, but sure.
No, we'll plug your. We're going to talk about everything.
All right.
Well, what I really want to talk about, though, because I'm shaking my head, it's a few weeks before election,
Right.
and you just announced you're going to run for mayor.
I did, yeah.
Why in the world, in this city, the way things are, why do you want to run for mayor?
I have a 6-month-old son. I told you the story when I called in the other day, but I'll repeat it. I had emergency surgery. I had a stent put in my kidney a couple weeks ago. I was really sick, and it was kind of a wake-up call because, you know, I could have just sat through the next month and not done anything about the election, not done anything about the state of the city or the people who are stealing money from us in the state, stealing money from our natural resources, because people are making money off of the falls. It's just not our city. So I figured, you know what, here's a chance to get people listening. Here's a chance to educate the general public about who's who in the zoo. For the most part, the media won't print any of this. So now I got the microphone. Here I am. I'm on your show. I also felt that out of all the candidates, none of them are talking about this. None of them
Well,
are
none
talking
of
about
them.
the corruption.
Glenn is saying a few things. Glenn's come out. In fact, Glenn will be here Wednesday with his next. He's come on with a series of what he's going to do. Mr. Ristino has chosen apparently not to come on the show. He's either going door to door, or busy doing other things, doesn't think the show is valuable, or doesn't want to come out and say what he's going to do.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, I understand that if that's the way he decided, his campaign decided
Sure.
to play it. But now you're coming out 3 weeks before the election
Yeah.
and saying, I'm going to run for mayor, and it's on a write-in.
Yeah.
And my question, and I asked you this before the show, I told you I was going to ask you, is are you put in there as a spoiler by somebody? How could you possibly think in 3 weeks you're going to win a mayoral election?
First of all, nobody tells me what to do. I'm not a puppet. I have no strings. And anybody who knows me, who truly knows me, will tell you that. Sometimes to a fault. There's something like 16,000 registered Democrats in this city. I'm a registered Democrat. Only around 3,000 of them voted in the primary, okay?
I know. And why? What do you figure on
Low
that?
voter turnout because nobody wanted either candidate. You know, because you had one guy that was getting smeared, onslaught of, political assassination, just completely destroying his reputation, which he was shackled to Deister. I'm talking about Seth. And then you got another guy who, I'm not here to bash anybody, but people didn't want him for his own character flaws and his own actions and who he is. So
Well,
what do you do?
That's all well and good. Why do they want you?
I'm just another guy, but I'm not afraid to stand up to the state, and I'm very close with the Seneca Nation of Indians. I know the ins and outs of their tribal politics as much as anybody that's not part of their nation. I know a lot about their culture. I've been immersed in the Haudenosaunee culture since I was a little kid. The other candidates, they'll get eaten alive by the Senecas because they just don't know.
Well, what do you
who they're
mean?
dealing
What do you mean by that? They'll get eaten alive.
with.
Don't expect their money.
I wouldn't expect their money, no. They're descendants of a warrior tribe. They used to have this thing called the gauntlet hundreds of years ago. And if they captured you, you would have to run through their entire village. Axes, tomahawks, arrows, swords. And you'd have to get into the longhouse.
Didn't Clint Eastwood do that one time? Something like that, the
I think
gauntlet.
you're talking about a different tribe. Nowadays, they have a different version of that gauntlet.
Yeah.
Okay, and this version is more political. Okay, I've ran their gauntlet. I'm the only non-native in Niagara Falls, at least Niagara Falls, maybe Western New York, who has ran their gauntlet. Okay, I've gotten on the inside because they trust me, because they know that I respect their culture.
Well, all right, let's get realistic about this campaign. You have 4 weeks left. These other candidates spending,
It's less than that.
some are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Or,
Good on them. Yeah.
No. So how are you planning to let people know what you're all about, other than coming on
Sure.
a show like this?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll reach a few thousand, but
I'm sending out a couple thousand mailers at the end of the week. I'm going on another show, the Edge of the Falls podcast, on Thursday, and then going, to different events. Going.
and what is your claim to fame? What are you? Why should I vote for you?
Because I'm the one who's going to get the shit done, Sal. Because our city's been broken for longer
Well, I'm
than I've been
glad
alive.
somebody's going to get this shit done, and that's internet for you. But so let's ask, how are you
Yeah.
going to get this shit done?
Well, first thing I'm going to do is, as mayor, I will call out for an official investigation, because there hasn't been any word of the Buffalo Billions scandal rolling through our city, going into the state park. We have a group that used to call themselves the Buffalo 18. Now they call themselves the 4379 group, which is the longitude, latitude of Buffalo. This group includes Jeremy Jacobs, owner of Delaware North, who have the concessions contract down at the state park. Mark Hamister, who you know as a developer, who you were just talking about, it was the Hotel Niagara
Sure.
down here.
The Hamister Hotel, not the
The Hamister Hotel. Jordan Levy, who is a banker who runs 43 North for the Buffalo Billions, but he also runs Seneca Holdings, which is the investment arm of the Seneca Nation. And Jimmy Glynn, the owner of Made of the Mist, was part of the Buffalo 18, and he's an affiliate with 4379.
Well, you got a guy like Kenny Tompkins going, we're going to petition the state to get some money
Yeah.
from the people that go to the state park.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Well, two things. First of all, I want to throw in the last name is Louis P. Simonelli, okay, because he was convicted of bid rigging. He's 4379. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. When I ran Kennedy's campaign, we made a campaign video I could show you where we were talking about getting a portion of the parking on Goat Island, and I know that he had been back and forth with them. This is nothing new, but now it's a surcharge. When the state comes back and says, no, we're not going to do that, that pretty much shows what they think of us. I want to show you this book. This is called Inventing Niagara, Beauty, Power, and Lies by Ginger Strand, and I brought it today because it's got some interesting stuff in it, but in here, it talks about the state parking at Goat Island, okay? And they have a special arrangement in which the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation is able to keep a percentage of the revenue instead of having it all go back into the general state parks kitty, which means far from encouraging people to walk more, the state parks actually invested in making it easier for them to drive onto the Niagara Reservation, okay? So instead of that going back into the state parks, it goes back into the Office of Historic Parks and Restoration.
Is that good or bad?
Well, they're keeping the money. That's what that says, okay? And there's a lot of ways that they're keeping, like, for example, the Tesla statue that's on Goat Island,
Right.
they picked it up and moved it 50 feet. How much do you think that cost?
I have no idea.
Probably tens of thousands of dollars.
I'm still going, why did they take that chimney and move it somewhere else?
I'm talking about specifically in the state park, because what I found through my research and talking with people like Paul Gramosiak, who was the historian for a very long time and
Sure.
considered the utmost expert on Niagara Falls.
Yeah, we had Paul on the show.
What I found is that historically, whenever the city is broke, and it's happened a few times where we've been in dire straits, okay? Money goes into the state park. And they always say, and you could listen to my speech with Sam Hoyt. I said this to Sam Hoyt publicly at the State of the City address, and he said, we spent $85 million in the state park because if you don't have a top-of-the-line tourist product, you're not going to bring people into the city. That's the con.
The Falls is not a top-of-the-line
Exactly.
tourist project? I mean,
Exactly. And it's not a product, right? It's a waterfall. We don't have to worry about doing anything to it. It's going to bring people. I was a tour guide at the Cave of the Winds for 2 years, okay? I talked to hundreds of tourists. Some people save up their entire lives to see the waterfall, not the state park, okay? But they dump tens of millions of dollars into the state park, lying publicly that it's going to bring people into the city. Why can't they put that money in the city where it belongs? That's the big question.
and does anybody ask anybody that?
I have.
And what answer did you get?
What I just told you. Because if you don't have a top-of-the-line product...
That's not an answer.
Yeah,
hey,
right.
we're at 333-3020. Ken Cosentino's with us. He's running for mayor on a write-in. Says he can win it because there's a lot of voters out there that don't vote or didn't vote or usually don't vote. I mean, voter turnout has been horrible in the past few years.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to get them out?
Well, you have to light a fire inside of people. You know, they need to see somebody who's willing to fight for them. I'm just a guy. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to stand here and bullshit you, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the stuff that all the other candidates are saying. Oh, we're going to create jobs. It's a vague blanket statement, okay? I have ideas.
We're going to create jobs and bring people into the city so their kids could stay here.
I have ideas, but more so, I want to raise awareness during this time. I mean, you could ask me. I'll tell you. I'm an open book about my ideas. But I'm wondering, we were at one point we got 40% of our city budget from NYPA. Okay, in 2007, we were cut out in the relicensing for the next 50 years. All right. Now, when we get NYPA money, it's through Greenway funds, which means that money has to be spent along the river.
On certain things, yeah.
And so there's stipulations for it, and that's how you get a $300,000 statue that nobody wants when we could have used that money, right? So the con is on, right? What we need to do is we need to call them out publicly. We need to go to CNN, NBC, Fox News, the Washington Post. We need to make such a big thing of it publicly. The people need to, our leadership needs to, and we need to keep pressing that button because they don't want that publicity. I promise you that.
333-3020. Ken Cosentino, running for mayor. We're going on the phones. Dial it carefully. When we pick up, hang on. We'll get to you. Hi, you're on with Ken.
Right?
Yep.
So
Hi.
the con is on, right?
You there?
What we need to do is we need to call them out publicly. We need to go to CNN, NBC, Fox News, the Washington Post.
Hello?
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 Is this Ken?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Chuck Richards. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great, Chuck. Good to hear.
I'd like to know how you're going to get money from the New York State Power Authority.
Like I just said, what we need to do is we need to expose what's happening, okay? And there's a lot of ways that we can do this. For starters, Reclaim Niagara has been working for years to educate people on the fact that we got cut out completely. They can lower our electricity rates to offset the costs. Again, it's all about publicity. You know, Chuck, when I spoke out against Sam Hoyt and they were going to build a lodge on Goat Island, they turned around real quick as soon as that took fire. If it hits world news that a famous city and the mayor are calling out corruption in NYPA, they're going to ask us to stop and ask us what we want.
Do you think that any of these other, like Deister or anybody else, has tried to do this before and hasn't succeeded?
Nobody has even attempted what I would attempt as mayor. And I would just keep hitting that button, Chuck. You know me. I'm not going to shut up until it's over.
All right. Well, thanks for answering my question.
All right. Love you, man.
333-3020. You know, I look at your website. We'll give the website out.
Yeah, sure.
But it says S.E. Cosentino, and I said, why is it S.E. Cosentino? And your name is Ken Cosentino, you told me.
Well, that's my full legal name, S.E. Kenneth Cosentino.
I see.
Yeah, vote me in and I'll tell you why.
That's what you
it's
said.
SE.
After the election,
Yeah.
I'll let you know what the S.E. means.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. 333-3020, if you got a question, he's running for mayor. How are you going to solve our How you going to solve our money problem other than asking the state for money?
Well,
How you going to solve? I mean, we got a $12 million deficit.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of problems.
well, the deficit wasn't an accident, okay? The deficit was created.
Well, I understand that, but how are you going to get us out of it?
Okay, a few things. First of all, $250 million was squandered. It wasn't lost. We balanced our budget with casino money. We had never done that before, and we did that after NYPA pulled their funding.
Okay, yeah.
So Seneca Nation of Indians wants to work with us. They can invest in our city. We just, can't negotiate in a sense that they're just giving us gaming money.
Okay, what do we lose? Because I believe the present administration said we will lose a lot more if we go backdoor with the Senecas and try to make a deal than what they give us. What is
He's
that
got
about?
no spine. If the state is telling us, if Governor Cuomo is telling us that we can't work with those filthy Indians, because then you're not going to get our aid. The problem is that the state has kept us sick for years, and then they give us a little bit of the treatment at a time, but never the cure to make us whole. So we need to work directly with the Seneca Nation. We need to bring in new businesses. Okay, I work in the film industry.
And so, but the question is if we go backdoor and talk to the Senecas, because this is what they're saying, what I'm hearing, then the state is going to cut us out. So if the Senecas give us $120 million, whatever they give us a year, how much do we lose from the state? Or could we lose from the state?
When you're talking numbers like that, I have asked people, and I get a different number from every
I have different numbers for everybody, too. But.
So I could tell you one, and then someone will call in, it's not that number, I've heard it's as low as 20 million. So, who the hell is to say which political analyst and which politician is correct on that?
Yeah, well, 333, we got all the phones ringing here, Ken. We're going to go to the phones. 333-3020. Ken Cosentino's running for mayor as a write-in. Hi, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, James from Niagara Falls. The one question I had originally was about the Power Authority, and so you answered that. But what I think a lot of people are going to be concerned about is you being a write-in candidate and coming in late to the game. I think some people are going to be concerned that maybe they're throwing away their vote. I kind of want to know, what would you say to those people?
I'd say that they need to take a chance with me because I am beholden to nobody but the people. And I just thought about it the other day. I've actually been campaigning for this for years because I've been out on the streets. I've been in the community. I've been to the schools talking to the kids. I started a charity. I work with the people, and they know me, and they know what my intentions are and what my capabilities are. So they can throw away a vote with the other candidates because I think a lot of people right now are thinking, man, I don't want to vote for either of these guys, but I'll go with the lesser of two evils because I definitely can't vote for that guy.
Okay. And, and I kind of agree with that. And the other thing I was wondering was, we have such a high unemployment rate in the city with thus bringing about a low tax base, so we don't have the amount of income we need for all of sort of the bills that we have as a city. What would you do to help create jobs in the city?
Absolutely. So in Buffalo, there are different houses for equipment rentals and different brick and mortar establishments that the film industry has created that we don't see here. Buffalo is getting tens of millions of dollars a year from the film industry. A few years ago, when I was working on a movie that was in town from Hollywood, the cinematographer hired me, and he went and looked at that old fire station that was fixed up and nobody ever did anything with it.
At Highland?
Yeah, he wanted to buy that to turn it into a production house, but they said that the price was just way too high. What we need to do is we need to offer low prices to get people to build production houses here so that they're constantly in town, hiring locals. We also need to look at green energy.
You think the movie industry is going to bring enough into the city to make a difference?
Yes, absolutely. Like I just said, in Buffalo, they're getting tens of millions of dollars. When Hollywood started, they were just a strip in the desert, okay? And then the Warner Brothers studio started in Burbank and in Buffalo, but the one in Buffalo burnt down. So it just shows, there's a historical precedent.
Money there.
Yeah, it's
Money.
there.
Answer your question, caller?
It does. If you don't mind, I had one quick
Go ahead.
question. I live downtown,
Yeah.
and I constantly see all these properties from Niagara redevelopment. It feels like they have a little bit of a stranglehold on any kind of development in the city. What would your strategy be to kind of get them to do something or allow them to work with somebody? You know, it just feels like, nothing's being done with all this prime real estate.
Well, nothing has been done with all that prime real estate. They have the Turtle, they have the Nabisco plant, they have so much of the real estate around the casino that just sits there. I know Roger Trevino. I'm not afraid to say that I know him. I know him on a personal basis. I've been to his house several times. I've had lunch with him more times than I could count. I have a good relationship with him. And what he's brought to my attention is that group I was talking about, 4379 Group, have pushed out his company and other companies. And I know that for a fact because there have been other developers that I've talked to who were not able to build here because of their monopoly. So we need to address the corruption. And we need to start working with different developers, especially NFR, who already owns the land, and get them to build. Now, I know that he has a good relationship with the Seneca Nation of Indians as well, so we can all work together to build up all around the casino and move into the town.
Thank you for your call.
Sal, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you for your call. 333-3020. Now look, when you dial in, when we pick up the phone, you'll be placed on hold, and then we will get to you. So be patient and hang on. Listen to your phone and not the computer. You're on with Ken. Go ahead.
Sal, how you doing?
Good.
I just thought I've seen it all until now. Where do you think you're going to actually create even 200 votes? All right, 2 weeks before the election, whatever they are. All right, and you're talking about absolutely nothing. Tell me what you're going to do to solve our deficit problem. And let's not go to war with New York State, okay? Tell me right now your plan to fill a $12 million deficit. How are you going to do it?
You're trying to cut the end off of a blanket and sew it to the other end of the blanket and make it work, okay? We don't have enough money. We need to bring in money from outside. That's what I'm talking about. In fact, 20 minutes before I came to the studio, I booked a multi-million-dollar movie into this city. They're only going to shoot here for a day, maybe two, but if I was mayor, I could get them staying here, the entire crew, the entire cast. I'm talking hotels, I'm talking electricians, carpenters, unions, IATSE, SAG, DGA. I'm talking transportation, I'm talking catering. I'm talking about keeping money circulating locally. We need to attract industry, and what we need to do is we need to rebrand the city because the city has a really bad reputation.
Tell me how that's going to solve our deficit problem. All right, you have 80% of your budget is personnel.
Yeah.
I know you're friends with Mr. Kennedy. He should be grooming you on this budget procedure. All right, so, and you're already talking about how you are the man to the chiefs at the Indian reservation. All right, now, who actually runs the controls the strings of the Tuscarora or the Seneca tribe?
It's the Seneca. It's the tribal council.
It's not the clan mothers, right?
No, they don't have a traditional. In 1848, they dissolved their traditional government, and actually, it's argued, but a lot of traditionals argue that they're a corporate subsidiary of New York State. They have 3 reservations: Allegheny, Cattaraugus, and Tonawanda. Allegheny and Cattaraugus are under Seneca Nation of Indians Corporation. The Tonawanda one is traditional with the clan mothers.
Clan mothers don't control what happens, right?
That's a negative.
It's a negative. Okay, negative. Now we're talking walkie-talkie talk. Okay, you want to negotiate a backdoor deal with the Senecas, but yet there's an ironclad contract with the state. You can't do that. You can't do nothing until 2023 or whenever you decide.
That's not true. That's not true. Show me in the compact where it says. Show me in the compact where it says Niagara Falls cannot talk to them and get them to invest in infrastructure.
Okay. How many stairs did you fall down or something to rattle your brain? Because you have no clue what's happening in this city. Don't tell me you want to make a film and that's going to create our problems in Niagara Falls to solve our problems. Don't tell me you want to block Goat Island. You want to go burn some tires then and stop traffic from going on there. Don't tell me right now, what is your problem? How are you going to solve the major problem of Niagara Falls with $15 million deficit? Let's not talk Never Land and Wonderland or whoever ties you into this, because I really believe someone talks you into this thing and throwing you as a sacrificial lamb, because you have absolutely zero chance The one caller called me the other day and says, you're going to get your ass handed to you? You're going to get your ass handed to you. If you get 200 votes, and I'll tell you, if this city even votes for you, it votes you in, it's time to get out of town. Because you know what? You want to take the city down backwards. I have not heard, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me what your plan is to solve our deficit problem and start creating neighborhood redevelopment, small business redevelopment. Don't tell me you want to bring a motion picture theater in here or whatever. You tell me grassroots how you're going to solve our problems. Because you know what? 3 weeks before the election, you had the write-in campaign. I don't know what you must be smoking with them Indians. Whatever it is, you better keep on smoking. That's the way you're dreaming, pal. Sal, you hit the lowest of your shows right now. I said it before, you have the lowest right now. Goodbye.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Before you say anything, that is our resident expert on everything.
Eastside Dave?
No, it's not Eastside Dave.
Oh, okay, I was
but it's a close second.
Yeah.
This guy is an EOE, expert on everything.
Joe?
It's Joe, yes.
Yeah.
Joe, the famous EOE.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know. It's the dwarfs.
EOE. It's the EOE. It's the EOE theme.
I understand that people can't fathom what I'm saying, some people, but we have a natural wonder of the world, and we have billions of dollars flowing over that waterfall that we're not allowed to tap into. So, Joe, I hope you're watching this because I didn't get to answer your question while you were on the air. We will tap into that. How will we tap into that? By making a stand. I've made a stand before. I started a movement that stopped the Goat Island Lodge. Okay, that was me. I spoke out to Sam Hoyt. I started the petition. I rang the bells, and it happened. The people got together. Talk like that is divisive, and we need to come together to make things happen. You can point fingers at whoever you want. We can work directly with the Seneca Nation of Indians. There's a lot of ways that we could do that. One way we could do it is we could take unwanted parcels of land that we are never going to use, and we could let them hold it in a trust, and they could advance us money, okay? And if they don't build something on that land, it reverts back to our ownership. I mean, we have to get creative. We need creative solutions. And I understand everybody.
Well, that's new. That's new things. But how about all this land we already have in holding now that nothing's being done with?
You're talking about NFR again?
I suppose it's NFR. I guess there's other people too.
Question. I mean, you know,
You're going to talk to Roger Trevino and get it done.
Yeah, I could call Roger right now and talk to him if I was mayor. You know, he told me that he hasn't been able to communicate with the mayor for years. And again, it goes back to this group. We can keep avoiding that this group exists, but they exist, and they're running the show. They run the state, they run Como, they run Deister, and for the last 30 years, they've run the Seneca Party. But it was just a year ago that they had a big uprising, a coup, and they overthrew it. Otherwise, we'd be dealing with Mojon. Instead, we're dealing with Ricky Armstrong. Okay? This is the best time ever to be dealing with them because they cut out their rats. We need to get rid of ours.
333-3020. Ken Cosentino is running for mayor. Is with us. You're on the air with Ken. Go ahead.
Hi, Ken.
Hello.
Oh, good. You can hear me. Ken, this is Peter from downtown Niagara Falls as well. I've got a question for you. I've been following a lot of your announcements so far. A lot of strong stuff there, but I figured why you got into the race was you weren't hearing any of the candidates addressing what needed to be. But my question for you is, you're going to need to build teams, build alliances, and I'm going to hang up and listen, but what kind of alliances, what kind of relationships do you see building within, say, city council, within the city structure, and outside of that to better the city? What do you see building on to create a team that you can work with in the city?
That's a great question. I spoke with Ken Hamilton last night, and he was talking to me about the city charter, and he was explaining to me how it went from a strong mayor to a weak mayor back to a strong mayor, and how when they consolidated two charters into one, it kind of threw off the communication between the mayor and the city council. And you know, having gone to council meetings over the years, I feel that the mayor isn't really communicating with our council, and so it's made us really unorganized and you know, put us into a crisis. I really don't look at political parties at all. I'm a pretty radical person in the sense that, you know, well, they consider radical if you want clean water and clean air, you're radical, right? But in the sense that I'm not gonna just play games with people because that's what got us here. I'm a builder of relationships. That's something that I do for a living. Diplomacy is what we need. So the first things first is that we've been invaded by the state. I'm not saying going to war with state. We're already at war with state. We've been at war with the state. People need to know their history in the city of Niagara Falls. We're taking a defensive position and saying we're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, that part of it. But it's not the state's job to bail the city of Niagara Falls out. I mean, it'd be wonderful if they did it, and I hope they do it, but...
They created... I'm not talking about a bailout. I'm talking about getting our fair share from the waterfall, from the parks, from the Bridge Commission, from NYPA. If we had thousands of people up in arms, and I'm not talking violence, I'm talking, peaceful protesting, speaking out. If we rallied senators, congressmen, our local politicians and went to big news media and really, really made it a hot topic, we don't think about the city as a famous city.
Have you gone to big news media?
I've tried.
You're running now for...
I have tried.
And what
with
happened?
This message. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy, But if the mayor of Niagara Falls was saying this, it would be different. You need something that sparks their interest to make it a story. We need to rebrand the city. I keep saying this, and that's key to what I'm talking about. We need to take the Power City moniker, okay? We need to take that back. When you rebrand something, you make it enticing for industry. You make it enticing for people to visit, for people to move here. I mean, I'm not going to lie about the poverty. I'm not going to, we have radioactive slag from the Manhattan Project, and we have Love Canal, and those things need to be addressed. But first, people need to know that they have a leader who is willing to... First thing I would do, honestly, I would take a $27,000 pay cut in my salary, okay? I don't have any problem with that. Because if other people have to take a pay cut, then our leader, the mayor, should also take a pay cut. You lead by example. I hope that answers your question, Peter.
So, do you feel that we need layoffs then, pay cuts? What do we need to pull the city out? Well, other than the state saying, okay, here's your money, we're going to give you the surcharge.
I mentioned it in my press release, and so there's two police unions, okay? There's a top brass union, and then there's all the patrolmen and everybody underneath them. Right. And the problem is that they have an insane amount of OT, and nobody's willing to talk about this. For one reason is that the contract's not up till 2025, so it won't even be the next mayor, so it's, why throw yourself on a grenade? But it is a big issue, because if someone from the top brass union is, has a day off, and then they make a 1-minute phone call, they get paid for 4 hours of OT. Okay, I've looked at the budget, and they're eating up a lot of the budget. So you got almost 50 employees that are making six figures, and people are broke. So you don't become a cop to make $250,000. I'm sorry, I'm not against cops. I'm not against unions. That's just one thing. So we could take that money and we can have more patrolmen with it. I mean, it's a unreasonable waste of money.
Well, yeah, but you just said that comes up in
2025.
Okay, 2025. So
say
you get elected mayor in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You go in there. What do you do? What do you do day one to solve our problems?
I'm going out to Cattaraugus. I'm going out to Allegheny. I'm going out to speak with Ricky Armstrong and the tribal council. November 5th to January 1st, I'm cramming. I'm cramming everything that it takes to be mayor. I'm cramming on the budget. Bringing in financial advisors. I'm looking at the taxes. I don't think we should have to raise taxes on people, and I don't think we should have reassessments.
Do we need layoffs?
I think there are some layoffs. Like, for example, I'll say her name. I don't care. Meg Rossman, the special assistant to the mayor. I don't think that's a position that needs to exist. I think that there are
do we need to cut police, fire, and DPW?
No, that's ridiculous. We have the highest crime in New York State per capita. You can't cut police. As for the fire department, I got cut from the fire department. Okay, I got hired and they told me go get LASIK, and I got $4,000 of LASIK, and then the city council cut me 2 weeks before I was to go. Okay, and people want to say that I'm doing this for ulterior motives. Well, guess what? I've been on the top of the list for the fire department for the last I think it's 4 years. I could have had a job at the fire department. I earned it because I went back around. I got 100, and I earned it again, but I didn't want it because I said, look at these politics. They're bullshit. I don't want to be mixed up with that. So do we cut firefighters? I need to go and I need to look at how many firefighters we have, how many firefighters we need.
How many police, fire calls, rescue, and that do we have going to the casino that we don't get a thing from right now?
I don't know if it's as much as people complain about it, but they could pay our emergency services. There's no problem with that. Deister just won't do it because he's, way up Como's woohoo.
333-3020. Hi, you're on the air with Ken.
Hello, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, a couple of things that you said, they scare me, and I'll tell you, I don't scare easy. But your relationship with the Seneca, have you went into depth about the compact and how they've made an absolute joke of it? I mean, they have no obligation. They had no obligation to follow their required payments. But if you look in the original, they talk about building 3 separate towers, 3 hotels. They built one. Then they took the newest standing hotel, which is probably built before you were born, the Holiday Inn, and they turned that into a ground parking lot. They were to develop housing that would be conducive to attracting employees and future employees to become residents of downtown Niagara Falls. That never happened. So I mean, I'm sure a relationship with the Senecas would be a positive.
Can I answer your question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I will take a hard stance with them like I will with the state because you're absolutely right. Now, they were run by this 4379 group for the last 30 years. The Seneca Party was. And so they had the same rats in their nation that we have. They had the exact same problems, and they do have poverty in their nation too. Everything that they should have followed through on, I would make sure that they followed through on it. And they respect that. They respect a hard stance. They don't respect Deister because he doesn't have a spine. We need somebody that can communicate with them, that knows their culture, and isn't afraid to say, look, you guys didn't make good on this. I'll make sure that they make good on it. And yes, I have discussed in depth the compact with members of their government.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging to hear, but you still haven't told me or whoever listens to Sal's show, how are you going to get this done? What measures would you take to make the Seneca stand up and do what they're supposed to do?
So they do want.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No. This is delay. Sal's got me on this cutoff phone here, and when he wants to dump me, he can dump me.
Yeah,
I didn't cut you. That was just he was talking. You're talking over each other. Go ahead.
They do want to work with us. They've made that very clear. Todd Gates had said that publicly multiple times. Todd Gates wished me a happy birthday last year. Now he's gone. We got Ricky Armstrong. It's not as difficult as you think because they have business in town. They want our city to flourish. Okay, I know it sounds like they don't because they pulled the funding, but they're at war with the state, not with the city of Niagara Falls, and we're the ones who are left holding the bill. So we need to create a long-lasting business relationship with them, and there's many ways we could do that. They can fix our streets, for instance. They can fix our lighting and our infrastructure. And like I was saying to Sal, we have all this unused land that we could be building, I don't know, a theater and a roller rink and, attractions in the city, and they have the money to do that. They have $1 billion annual budget. So, we just have to, it's a system of trade. And that's what I think that the other candidates don't really understand about the Haudenosaunee culture, is that if I give you a pen and you give me a pencil back, we're pretty much even. But if I give you a pen and you give me a paper clip, it's not quite there. So it has to be an even trade, and we have assets, and there's stuff that we have to offer, and that brings up our next point: is that why aren't we trying to liquidate? Why aren't we looking at everything that we have in our city and trying to liquidate?
Okay. I agree with you on many things you've said, Ken. My whatever hair I have left bristled on the back of my neck when you mentioned NFR. NFR was created when James Galley was mayor. Okay, James Galley was mayor. What have they done? They staged a phony press release, and you're a media guy.
The groundbreaking, is that what you're talking about?
Oh no, this is when they were going to paint the turtle. And I told the sitting mayor at the time, I told her, Mayor, don't bother. It's all a scam.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to be able to say, look what they've developed. Look how they've turned this city around.
Yeah.
But they haven't.
No,
I'm
you're
really
right.
encouraged to hear. I'm really encouraged to hear about your knowledge of the park and its history, because we got the councilmen go on there and say that we're one of the 7 wonders of the world, which you know we're not.
We
They don't even know the history. They don't even know the history of the city they represent.
Yeah, I agree.
Your knowledge of the history is encouraging to hear.
Thank you.
But I still I'm that nasty man that's going to get your ass kicked.
I heard you. You call me a Dago. You're the Dago that called me a Dago.
Yeah, well, I am. There's a big difference between Dagos and Italians. My father taught me that.
It's all good.
But I mean, to say that I don't wish you well.
Thank you.
Would be untrue. I just deal in reality. I've seen people that should have never win elections, and people that should have won going away get crushed by some old nun.
Yeah.
So you're encouraging, but I don't know if it's all timing, Ken. I think it's timing right now for you.
Well,
I don't control your life. The only one that controls your life is God and Sal Panessa.
I hope to prove you wrong.
Okay.
I'll go for that. I'll go for that last part. I'll take a little control. 333-3020. Ken Cosentino is running for mayor. We're coming right back. Hang on to the phones. We'll get to you. There's a new Mexican restaurant in town. Tasty Mexican tacos and ice cream at 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. Beautifully decorated and ready to serve you. Weekly specials include prime loin tacos for only $10, beef tongue tacos, shredded ribeye steak tacos, beef chalupas with onions and cabbage, rice and bean taco, fried sweet baby fish tacos. You're sure to find something you love at Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. To place your order, call 804-3934. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, featuring that Mexican food you will love, made fresh and delicious every day. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, now open in Niagara Falls.
Girls Weekend.
What's going on in here? She started. She hit me with a bottle. She threw one at me.
Those girls were 17, you scumbag!
Back. Get back. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Leave that.
Another one of your movies?
I don't know what the hell that is.
333-3020. You're back on the air. Hi, you're on with Ken.
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Good.
Good. So Ken, I'll tell you what I basically just have a couple comments. I 100% freaking love the fact you're calling out the state of New York, because that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, I'm not super vocal, but I pay attention a lot. yeah, we have absolutely been getting raped by the state of New York.
Absolutely.
So when the state of New York and the governor comes in here and they throw these shiny nickels around saying this is what we're going to do for Niagara Falls, I'm smart enough, and I think a lot of not people that don't speak up, the silent minority or maybe even majority, we realize that we're getting screwed over by the state. Okay, that when they give us $1 million, really we're only getting $100,000 of that money. Okay.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate what you're doing with regards to sticking up for Niagara Falls against the state of New York. We definitely are getting raped. The only and once again, I don't want this to come across adversarial. The only problem I have is you going forward as a candidate or as an advocate for Niagara Falls is I'm really, really uncomfortable with your alignment with the Senecas and NFR, okay?
I got to correct you. I have no alignment with NFR. If you want to talk about a candidate who has alignment with NFR, they're backing Restaino. So I just know Roger. I try to be diplomatic with everybody.
Sure, and so I used to be involved in politics too, so I get the subtle nuances of everything, but it comes across right now with what you're saying today is that you're sympathetic maybe, or you will do a little more to work with NFR. I think NFR has had ample opportunity to present themselves and do something.
Understood.
Okay, and as well as the Senecas. I'm that guy too. I'm not sympathetic to the Senecas' plight. Okay.
Sure.
As much as I hate the state of New York, the way they treat the city of Niagara Falls,
yeah,
I'm still a resident and a New York State not citizen, New York State resident. So my alliance stays with New York State, not the Senecas. Okay. So
that's fair. Yeah.
And I think ultimately going forward, if I was a Seneca representative, why would I negotiate with the state of Niagara Falls? If I didn't have to put up one single nickel, there's no reason for me to do it.
Yeah, great, valid points. I'm not going to argue with you on any of that. I just feel that whereas we feel like we're their host city, they've been here longer, and they honestly
longer than what?
Than America. They've been here longer than anybody that we're related to.
If I may, Ken, and I 100% appreciate where you're coming from. Okay?
Yeah.
And you wear your leftist stuff on your sleeve, and I appreciate it, and I love it. Okay, but you're talking about peaceful protesting and stuff like that. And see, I personally don't think that's the kind of thing.
Can I tell you? Can I throw something at you?
Sure.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, I was looking into who actually owns the islands, right? The Goat Island and Three Sisters and
Cute Island,
all of them. And so I went back and I looked at the court case, the Grand Island court case, between Seneca sued New York State trying to claim Grand Island. And I read all the courtroom proceedings. I used to work at a law firm, and I was a proofreader of legal documents. And I read all the courtroom proceedings for it. And the lawsuit went from 1993 to June of 2002. And then August of 2002 is when the casino compact, the first compact, was signed. Because New York State was giving them the casino in Niagara Falls for them to basically drop that case. Okay, and this is all fact. It's on my website. I could give you hundreds of documents.
No, I'm well versed in it.
Okay, so my point is that Congressman John LaFalce called out a private group that was running the Seneca Party at the time, which is this group that I'm talking about. And what they did, and what I found when I was going through these documents, they had evidence that they never brought up in court. So they held a gun to New York State's head. And this was this 4379 group, okay, these rich businessmen using the Seneca Party as a surrogate, okay? They held a gun to New York State's head because they had evidence that the original treaty for those islands was signed by hostages, okay? It's firsthand evidence that could be found in the Treaty of 1764 and Sir William Johnson's notes. That evidence, when I found that, I don't think they ever expected people to be able to find this on the internet or anybody to care. I read through hundreds of pages of this, okay? When I found that evidence, I've had PhDs look at it. I had a high-powered attorney from Long Island look at it. My findings were published by the National Indian Law Library, and the Seneca Nation sent it out through their media source. If we team up with them and we expose this and we urge them to take their legal team and take this back to court, Okay, I don't know if it would be considered a Brady violation withholding evidence on their end, but if we team up with them and they fight this, we can see some changes because the park is coveted. The islands are coveted. We have to be allies with them because the state, like you said, is raping us. And I'm tired of getting raped, and it sounds like you are too. And we have been mistreated by the Seneca Nation, but you have to understand that they have a new government now that they switched over. It's not the same people because of all the exposure that has been given to this group and to these private entities.
Thank you for your call. We're running short on time, but what I want to do is come back, and I'd like you to give a number, a website, something where all this information that you're talking about, or somebody wants to get a hold of you, can follow up on what we're saying and what we're doing here tonight, what you're talking about. So we're coming right back. Get ready with a paper pencil.
Accessories, trained service technicians, and the widest selection of innovative Cub Cadet products. We're here for you whenever you need us, with expert service and support to keep your equipment running at peak performance for years to come. Take advantage of exceptional financing at your local Cub Cadet dealer today.
Stop by your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer, Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment, today.
Hi, my name is Kenny Tompkins. I've been your city councilman for the last 4 years, and I've prided myself on community-based work ethic and working hard, rolling up my sleeves to work alongside the people. I am here to create a better, more transparent government and hold the government officials accountable for our actions. Got a problem or a question? Give me a call. I can be reached at 940-7092. My name is Kenny Tompkins, and that's what I do. I listen to the residents, and I try and solve the issues. Please, on November 5th, I humbly ask you to vote for me so that I continue to be the voice for the residents of the city of Niagara Falls.
Paid for by Friends of Kenny Tompkins. I like to call this the fun time of year. It's time for entertaining and to visit with friends and relatives and to pick out a special gift for a certain someone. You know what that makes it? It makes it the perfect time to visit Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara's largest liquor store with all your favorites to choose from at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Military Roads. Now, if you want a preview, you can check them out online right now at supermarketliquor.com. They're open 7 days a week, late nights Friday and Saturday till midnight, with plenty of free, brightly lit parking in front of the store. And there's always plenty of cashiers there to speed you on your way if you're in a hurry. But if you want to browse, it's Niagara's largest liquor store with great gift-giving ideas and selections, whether it's wine or liquors. You know, when you're as big as Supermarket Liquors and Wines, a great gift doesn't have to be expensive. And you can see what I mean when you check out their specially custom-bottled tequila and bourbons, hand-picked by owner Chris Castellani at Supermarket Liquors and Wines. Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Mill Pine Plaza on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just moments from the Fashion Outlet Mall. Visit them soon or check them out right now at supermarketliquor.com.
Ain't gonna happen.
Now we got phones ringing and we're gonna have to have you come back.
Yeah, I'll come back.
I got to remind the folks, need your appliances fixed, $35 service call. Chris Moore's Appliance, 523-5911. You find his ad on our screen. Ken Cosentino is running for mayor. Closing, Ken. We're running out of time.
Yeah,
but,
so, one thing I didn't get to say is that I want to close down the Carnegie building and move all that to the NAC because that's one way to consolidate. Write me in, S.E. Kenneth Cosentino. I have a website. It's theniagarian.com, THENIAGARIAN.com. Or you could follow me on Facebook, S.E. Kenneth Cosentino. I'm posting daily about the election.
Let's do it one more time. We had about 30 seconds.
Website?
Whatever you want to put out there.
I got a lot of ideas, but I can't get to them in 30 seconds. I just feel like there's so much corruption here, and we should be capitalizing on our natural resource. We should be getting money from NYPA. We should be getting money from the Bridge Commission. We should be getting money from the parks. And until somebody makes a hard stance against the state, it's not going to happen. So write me in. I'll do it.
Ken Cosentino. We've got to make sure the spelling is right or understand they throw them out.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk to you again. Thank you. Good luck on your mayoral run.
Thank you.
We're back Wednesday with Glenn Chalokian and his bid for mayor also in his plan.